Stillborn to Life, a novella by Valerie Lynn Stevens. Chapter 8. For as long as I can remember, I have craved hunger, not the kind that can be fed, but an ever-toiling, burning, raw hunger. I wish not to be filled up, for it will be then I begin to slowly die from within, of a slow reaction of abysmal grief, and from a kind of starvation which can be borne only out of a gluttonous overabundance of all things malnourishing to the human body and spirit. And I will evermore pine for that intractable loss of my appetence, that which drives me ever onward to truly live. For if I am filled to nimiety with all that I have ever desired for, and upon that last day of my current incarnation, right before I am to be reborn from the still barren womb of all of this possessing, all of this knowing, am found unfit for any celestial inheritance, I shall be taken, a sad soul, smug with my own satiety, to my eternal penance, nullity, and I will never glimpse again of God's face. True hell, indeed. Nay, I say, leave me empty, leave me free to fully be and to become with infinitude. To yearn, to want, it is the very engine of the mortal human soul. To want too much has been the sin of many, myself included, but to want for nothing at all is perhaps the one blaspheme which even the devil himself abhors. Apathy, a deadly sin oft untallied. Or perhaps not wanting is, in and of itself, an equally substantial and veritable want. That old yen to feel no more exuberant joy for life, so that one may let the ravening beasts of fear, despair, and disillusionment lie. For only an existential kind of concupiscence can bring so much anguish. Hence, existential indifference is more often than not an all too accessible and ever potent anesthetic. But soon enough the heart, for want of wanting, begins to atrophy, thus inflicting an even more wrenching, unbearable, and inconsolable pain upon mind, body, and soul. For right along with shelter, hydration, food, and love lies longing, conviction, forward-flowing movement, but most of all, hope. For life is neither given to sentimentality, nor is it loyal, and it bats not an eye when we desert it. Yet if we are fortunate, we will meet at least one lone soul like ourselves who will not buy in so gullibly when we boast of our newfound despondency and insouciance, and will reveal our so found nihilistic zeal and fervor for the deception that it really is. And hopefully we will never get so far as to not be able to find our way back, although some do never return. For faith only in faithlessness is not hardy enough to bear the full brunt of dreams shunned into silent captivity by an oppressive, hideous constraint so akin to the living dead. Desire is the very breath of life, and oh, how I breathed it in. I could not stop desiring to live, even to die, for the stairway to heaven is constructed of the detritus of humankind's highest and lowest aspirations and endeavors, and God wanted for me to have it all. Yet, taking all things hand in hand, so did the devil. For by my 20th birthday I had indeed experienced almost all there was to experience, And for a while, I lived, as so many must, limbo state, neither here nor there. I devoted myself to my studies and joined a traveling theater ensemble, which traveled all across the world as time and the budget allowed. I became somewhat of a household name within certain circles. My wide range of talents definitely did not go unappreciated. And it was this particular period of my young life that I can say brought at least a modicum of genuine happiness and contentment for me. In other words, I had never been quite so well behaved. And whatever indiscretions I was guilty of were nothing in comparison to those of my younger days. Although I was and would always be somewhat haunted by my past, as all of the human species are, and would always also be bound to that of my new gypsy heritage. One night in particular reminded me of this. The night air was warm and damp. The moon hung crescent like an afterthought. I could not quite say why I chose him. The bloodlust billowed about my skin like a black velveteen cloak, and I felt whole again in my older, thicker skin. My shadow merged into me like sweet liquid night, and I breathed in once again the dense air of primal release, like an orphan child deprived of feed by the negligent mother of civility and the insolent father of shame. As the knife plunged deftly into his flesh, I surrendered myself again to hate's asphyxiating embrace. For mother and father had forsaken me, and now I walked alone, unhindered, unencumbered. There would be no more rage left to simmer and rolling boil until its whimpering simper of evaporation and evanescence. There would only be this dance with death. And as I tasted of his life's blood upon my tongue, tepid and metallic, I feasted upon the delicate, succulent mystery meat of primeval catharsis, discarding the bitter broth of temporal vindication. For I had so long thrashed within my relentless knowing, and so did I unleash myself in full upon the dogs of repulsive inclination again that dark, warm night. For although I had reigned over them in their vapid, four-clawed, foul-famed fallacies for a short while, I wanted again to feel what I had been denying myself in playing the role of mere ringmaster of the beast, instead becoming the beast itself once more. And so, like I had done so many times before, I let it tame me. Yet I still raged for the righteous choice, which I knew I still possessed, yet could not fully trust. And somehow I always managed to escape the long arm of the law. And in the public eye, it seemed as if I never had to pay the penance for my sins or the punishment for my crimes, that this was an illusion. For I suffered greatly within that prison crafted not from mortar, brick, and stone, but from memory and time. Yet the convictions composing the Gothic architecture of this self-imposed interment would, by that divine judge of ultimate mercy, be exonerated in due time.